During the final hours of the Republic, Anakin Skywalker transformed into the Sith Lord Darth Vader. In the early days of the Empire, Vader appeared as a towering figure clad in black armor, and his existence was shrouded in mystery, with many Imperial officers having no idea who he was or where he came from, or what his position in their empire was. Very few knew that Emperor Palpatine was actually the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, so most had no idea that Vader was a Sith apprentice to their leader. Thus, rumors of his power in the Force and his obedience to Palpatine caused more confusion. In the 23 years that the Galactic Empire existed, what exactly was Vader's place in it? Where did he rank? What was his official role? Thankfully, the brand new canon book, The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, gives us an in-depth look at Vader's place in the Empire, and answers these questions. This book is an in-universe history book written by the character Beaumont Kin after the events of Episode 9, and he's basically piecing together everything that is currently known in the galaxy about the Empire and key political figures in the Empire. So this is everything that he's able to gather about Darth Vader, and it really goes into what Vader actually did in the Empire. So let's jump right in. For a figure who has only grown in infamy and public recognition, particularly after the much publicized revelation regarding his relationship toward Leia Organa and Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader remains perhaps one of the great enigmas of Palpatine's empire. Though he rose in prominence and military importance following the Battle of Yavin, there are significant periods of time where it is very difficult to ascertain exactly what role Vader played within the Imperial hierarchy, or what he was actually doing. Perhaps most intriguing of all is the fact that for years after the Empire was founded, there is very little evidence to suggest that anyone outside of a handful of selected Imperial officials even knew of his existence at all. Perhaps we should begin by re-establishing what we know of Darth Vader's actual background. The aforementioned exposure of recordings by Senator Ransom Casterfo in the New Republic Senate regarding Darth Vader's true identity, and the fact that he was the father of Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa, has helped fill in substantial missing gaps both in Vader's background and also the biographies of his offspring. Furthermore, documents recovered from the ongoing excavations of Exegol have provided additional insight into how the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker was transformed into a Sith Lord. From these records, it appears that Palpatine, acting in his role as Darth Sidious, had long been preparing Anakin Skywalker for the moment he would attempt to recruit him as a Sith apprentice. Abandoning his former name and identity, Darth Vader played a key role in the initial attack on the Jedi Temple that heralded the beginning of Order 66. However, something catastrophic appears to have happened to Vader between the end of the Clone Wars and his emergence within the new Galactic Empire. Gone was the young man who had adorned HoloNet screens throughout the Clone Wars. In his place was the imposing, black-clad figure who would eventually strike fear in the hearts of many. It's unclear exactly what type of injuries Vader sustained that required him to don an armored suit that evidently also acted as a life support machine. Following the Battle of Endor, Luke Skywalker reported that Vader's skin appeared to bear the scars of serious burns, but when and where such an event happened and the details of it remain a mystery. What we can tell from the Exegol records uncovered so far, however, is that the version of Darth Vader that Palpatine ended up with was not the one he had initially intended. What is also obvious and of relevance to this study is that there were clearly those alive at the end of the Clone Wars who were aware that Anakin Skywalker had become Darth Vader. What is additionally interesting and important is that for years, those same people appear to have been operating under the belief that Vader was dead. His survival and ongoing existence within the Imperial hierarchy must have been one of Palpatine's most closely guarded secrets. Bail Organa, Leia's adoptive father, was clearly one of those who knew about the link between Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. However, in 10 BBY, after she was kidnapped by the Inquisitorius, it was Leia who informed her father of a man named Darth Vader, not the other way around. Bail Organa had served in the Imperial Senate for the duration of that 9 years. Given his role in forming the Rebel Alliance, he was likely one of the most well-informed and connected individuals regarding the realities of Imperial rule in the galaxy. He would have been incredibly watchful for even the merest hint of anything related to Anakin or Darth Vader, lest it threaten his adopted daughter's safety and security. And yet, even he did not know that Vader lived. This fact alone should give us all pause for thought regarding the role Vader was playing in the Galactic Empire, certainly during its earliest years. If leading members of the Imperial Senate were oblivious to his existence, then whatever his activities, they were clearly being carried out in secret. There are suggestions in the Exegol records that Palpatine tasked Vader with the collection of various items of Sith history or arcana, and perhaps this is how he spent his first years in service to the Emperor, while building up his powers and strength. Vader also maintained a strict control of the Inquisitorius, so it's possible he was considered merely a more powerful Inquisitor by those who were unaware as to his actual nature. Given the number of executions attributed to or rumored to have been carried out by Darth Vader, it is also possible that for a time he existed within the Imperial system almost as the type of specter usually reserved for children's stories. A cautionary tale for those who served the Emperor about who they would face should they fail in their duties. Despite this, there were definitely high-ranking officials, such as Masamida, within the Empire who were aware of Darth Vader and his importance to the Emperor, even outside of traditional Imperial hierarchy. Given Vader's reputation and the level of power and authority that is now ascribed to him, his relationship with Grand Moff Tarkin is particularly interesting. As early as a year into the Empire's reign, Tarkin, before his promotion to Grand Moff, and Vader cooperated in an attack on Mon Cala, meaning Tarkin may have been one of the first senior military officers to interact with this mysterious figure. While in captivity on the Death Star, Princess Leia reported that Vader appeared to be very much subservient to Tarkin in the station's command structure. The phrase she recalled using at the time was that Tarkin was holding Vader's leash. The fact that she was able to speak obviously about Vader's reputation by this point indicates to us that he had clearly developed more of a public profile within the Senate, probably as a result of the emerging threat of the Rebel Alliance and Vader's role in dealing with it. It also suggests that Tarkin outranked Vader in the formal hierarchy, and that the Sith's presence was as an overseer or representative of the Emperor, but one who bowed to Tarkin's jurisdiction. This should make us wonder how exactly other military officers received this mystical representative of the Emperor. There was a certain level of arrogance within the upper echelons of the Imperial military, especially before the full onset of the Galactic Civil War. With a number of these officers having achieved their ranks courtesy of social class or private wealth, and with others having placed their faith in technology and Imperial science, Vader must have seemed an odd, anachronistic figure at times, with his Force abilities being linked to a period already being considered as ancient history. The subsequent destruction of the Death Star and the termination of the likes of Tarkin had a wide-ranging impact on the Empire, but also seemingly on Darth Vader. He might have been considered a leading contender for control of the military given the command vacuum, but whether he was being punished by the Emperor or was still kept out of the military sphere, it seems that he was placed subservient to Grand General Cassio Tag for a time. Given our knowledge that, upon later being placed above the Grand General in the rank structure, Vader immediately had him executed, it seems he was not as willing to work beneath Tag as he had been with Tarkin. Even when given command of his own Super Star Destroyer, the Executor, and the vaunted Death Squadron Task Force, it still does not appear clear exactly what Vader's position within the military sphere actually was. There has been a tendency in the years since the Empire's fall to look at Vader's personal fleet and his presence at various battles and consider him to be the supreme commander of Imperial military forces, but I'm unsure if the evidence backs this assertion up. The Joint Chiefs still had oversight of strategy and command, though Vader was clearly in control of his own forces and could overrule military officers and requisition their forces if needed. As we see from the Battle of Hoth, Vader appeared so uninterested in wider strategic aims that he would abandon existing plans simply to pursue his own agenda. As a result, his methods and approaches caused some serious issues within an Imperial military that struggled to find a unified way of dealing with Vader while also preserving their own forces, autonomy, and lives. It certainly was not an institution that prized imagination in its officers, and Darth Vader represented an anomaly to many who did not understand quite how he fit into the existing system, or why the Emperor placed so much value upon him. What we should take from this initial examination of Vader is that in many ways Vader appears to have been an anomaly. He either operated in secret, presumably following direct orders from Palpatine, or when in military roles, he seemingly had full jurisdiction over whatever he wanted. At times, Vader's fortunes appear to have fluctuated, and he may have fallen from favor with Palpatine following the debacle at the Battle of Yavin. But he fiercely guarded his own status relative to those around him. In short, the Emperor could challenge or criticize Vader, but he would not allow others to do so. This appears to be the norm for relations between Sith masters and their apprentices, but it also means that while Vader had significant power and prestige, he was not running the Empire in any meaningful way.